Right now, following some breaking news this morning, an important update about the missing 16-year-old from Beaver Dam.
Plus, effects of Trump's tariff rippling across the world overnight. The effect to the U.S. markets as the bell is now 2.5 hours from ringing.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 Now this morning on a Thursday. We're getting right into that breaking news this morning. The
2-month search for a missing Beaver Dam 16-year-old is over. This morning, authorities say she is safe and her 40-year-old abductor is in custody.
The Amber Alert for her has been canceled. Law enforcement had been looking for Sophia Franklin and Gary Day since February 2nd. Day is the father of her unborn child. He faces charges in Wisconsin for child abduction and enticement. He also has a criminal record in Arkansas. We are working to learn more details and we'll provide those here on the air and on our website, channel3000.com.
All right, let's get to Jacob Montesano. Get you ready to step out the door this morning. Jacob, those winds pretty strong today.
Yeah, we're still seeing very breezy conditions this morning, despite the fact that all the rain has cleared out. 22 miles per hour in Monroe, 25 in Platteville, 13 here in Madison. Just a few moments ago, Monroe actually registered a 31 mile per hour sustained wind. It has dropped at this moment, but those are just the sustained wind. The gusts are up to around 35 miles per hour for a few locations, overall between around that 25 to 35 mile per hour range. They will get better throughout the day, but expect to see those breezy conditions continue throughout the morning. Once we get to the afternoon, they're only going to be around 20 to 25 miles per hour, and then by the evening, they really will no longer be a factor. Now, as we take a look at the temperatures, those winds have been keeping those temperatures mild today, so lower 40s, upper 30s, at least for the morning hours. Not going to rise too much more throughout the afternoon, but this is definitely a welcoming sight. Very dry across the region, and despite the fact that we're going to see a lot of clouds today, we aren't going to see any precipitation. So looking at the forecast, highs will be near 50. Again, winds getting better. Few peaks of sunshine, but otherwise mostly cloudy. However, as I mentioned, we will be dry. But we do have a few small chances of precipitation. Nothing quite like yesterday, but I'll forecast those coming up a little bit later.
Jacob, thank you. And starting today, 25% tariffs on foreign cars and auto parts are set to take effect. It's part of President Donald Trump's trade war. The latest round, reciprocal tariffs against nearly all trading partners. It includes a flat 10% tax on all imports to the U.S. That starts on April 5th. Our consumer reporter, Michelle Renee Quinn, is here now with how experts say Americans might feel the impact. Michelle Renee?
Good morning. Aside from an increase in prices, Americans might begin to feel an economic slowdown. JP Morgan predicts a global recession if Trump maintains his tariffs. Economists say a 1930 trade war deepened the Great Depression, though Trump supporters note other countries don't have to retaliate.
They're going to bring their tariffs down because they need the U.S. to be active trading partner.
Economists say domestic manufacturers are the greatest winners under these new tariffs. You can expect to see an increase in prices and the rest of these impacts within the next 2 months.
Michelle Renee, thank you so much for those updates this morning.
European leaders responding to Trump's Liberation Day tariff announcement. That as shares continue to tumble in Europe and Asia. U.S. futures are also plummeting. We'll get to a live update on the markets in just a moment. German Vice Chancellor and Economy Minister saying that this day is not going to become Liberation Day for consumers in the U.S., but Inflation Day. Spain's economic minister says negotiating a solution with the U.S. is essential to the country's economy. Economists are warning that the tariffs raise the risk of a recession. Trump says he wants tariffs to make the global system more fair and bring back manufacturing jobs from other countries. Tariffs, though, could slow growth for U.S. and other countries as well as worsen inflation. As we take a live look at the White House this morning, we're watching how the Trump administration's actions are affecting U.S. stock market futures this morning. The Dow, NASDAQ, S&P, all tumbling this morning. The Dow futures are down more than 1,000 points. They are currently down 1,246 points at this moment. S&P futures down about 3.4%. NASDAQ futures are down 3.8%.
In local news, Dr. Jill Underly will continue to serve as the state's top education official over the next 4 years. Underly says funding is high on her list of priorities. She hopes to pass a $4 billion budget under the Republican-controlled state legislature. Underly says there is a need to help fund schools across the state as more districts ask voters to increase the levy limit to stay afloat.
I think there is the realization across the aisle that the funding formula is broken. And every time a referendum is passed, the funding formula gets more broken.
Underly's second term will also require navigating uncertainty at the federal level as the Trump administration seeks to dismantle the Department of Education. The general manager for Madison Metro Transit is resigning. Justin Stuhrenberg joined Madison Metro in March 2020. The city of Madison says he helped secure hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding to ensure the company's success. Stuhrenberg's resignation comes after an increase in reports of altercations between Metro drivers and riders. Madison Park Superintendent Eric Knepp will serve as acting general manager of Metro while the city searches to fill the position. That process is expected to be completed in early fall. Stuhrenberg's last day is May 30th.
Meantime, we have new details of the latest altercation involving a Metro driver. Officers responded to a report that someone attacked a driver on East Washington and 4th Street Sunday night around 8 o'clock. They found and detained a man matching the suspect's description, and police have referred charges to the DA's office. It marks the third reported attack this year on a Madison Metro driver. A couple of local organizations teaming up to host job fairs before their busy summers. MSCR, Madison School and Community Recreation, and Madison Parks wants to hire people interested in outdoors, arts, sports, and other fields. You can see information about the fairs on your screen. Starting wages range from $15 to $20 an hour. Participants can schedule on the spot along with meeting MSCR and Madison Park staff. Interested candidates can also apply online at mscr.org/jobs and cityofmadison.com/jobs.
Here's a stat that may keep you up at night. Roughly 3% of kids are forced to sleep on the couch or even the floor.
Our Armand Rahman shows us how volunteers in Dane County have been working to make sure every child can sleep peacefully.
Believe it or not, all of that noise behind me is actually the beginning of a good night's sleep for dozens of kids in Dane County.
Our goal is we're going to do 40 beds in about 3 hours. And then the goal for our chapter for the year is hit 365.
365 beds, one for every day of the year, for children that have to spend their nights sleeping on the couch or even the floor. It's a trend volunteers have been trying to put to rest at Sleep in Heavenly Peace's Madison chapter.
I know when we're accepting applications, we get about 2 bed requests per day.
Chapter President Casey Clock says they've delivered beds to a variety of families.
They're unemployed, underemployed, and people in transition phase. And what I mean by that is we served a family, and she was finishing up her PhD in chemistry and was just needed to kind of get over that hump from a PhD to a relatively lucrative career.
It's an effort that's involved the entire community.
There's a role for everyone. So there's anything from sanding, which is the most laborious, and then there's drilling, which is a little bit less. Dipping's a little bit less.
On Wednesday, volunteers from Blackhawk Church worked with lumber from Drexel Lumber out of Columbus. Ashley Furniture provides mattresses for most of the Wisconsin chapter. And for the past 3 years, quilts like these, made by the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, or RSVP, Dane County.
The work that they do is so intricate, so detailed, but again, they're giving because they know it's going to a worthy cause, it's going to a child that is in need.
A lot of the kids haven't had something of their own, let alone a custom quilt that's made locally, so it's quite special.
Special touch. Many of us take for granted.
I'm always amazed at how close the need is to actually where I live.
To find out about the next community build, you can check Sleep in Heavenly Peace's website. Reporting in Madison, Armand Rahman, Fox 47 News at 9.
Love to see that. Hey, 608, here are a couple of signs that spring is right around the corner. The Dane County Farmers Market is set to return on April 12th, just over a week away. It'll run every Saturday, of course, on the square from 6:15 in the morning until 1:45 in the afternoon until November 8th. Also returning, its sister Wednesday Market on the 200 block of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. That'll run from 8:30 in the morning until 1:45 in the afternoon, beginning April 23rd, ending November 5th.
Union Terrace's iconic chairs also returning on April 16th. There will be a party to celebrate on April 18th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. It will feature DJ Margot and the UW Marching Band. The Wisconsin Union's festival season also kicks off soon. It will host free concerts in late May and free movie screenings in June. Lineups will be announced next month.
Well, hopefully by then we'll be done with the snow, we'll be done with the colder weather, and you know, the terrace just not the same whenever it's still feeling like winter out, you know?
Yeah, you want to be able to enjoy it, enjoy the company of the hundreds of people that are on the terrace. Right. Yeah, I got out there once last summer, so
it's nothing like it.
Exactly. Well, let's check in with Jacob to see what we can expect today.
Well, today is going to be pretty quiet, but there is a little bit of snow in the forecast. I'll talk more about that coming after the break.
And the UW-Madison Science Expeditions are back this weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can explore science and why this brain is on this table in front of me in the 608.
6:12, time to see what's going on in the 608 this morning. The UW-Madison Science Expeditions are back this weekend.
Josh Spider is live on campus this morning with a preview. Josh, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you guys. We're in Chamberlain Hall this morning with a preview of one of the best events of the year here at UW-Madison. We're talking about science expeditions. This is a great opportunity for the family to come and explore science, and it's going to be happening all weekend. One of those events, we're getting a little bit of a preview right now with Dr. Mahua Day of the Neurological Surgery Center. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Josh. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm curious because we got a brain sitting on this table. What is this all about?
So we're going to teach a little bit of brain surgery. So I'm a neurosurgeon and I'm also a scientist. I have a lab. This is Jack, my graduate student. And what we do is we operate on brain tumors, and then we bring the brain tumors in our lab and we study and try to make therapeutic drugs for brain cancer.
Wow. Okay, so give us a little look at what this really looks like.
So this is a brain, and these grapes that are stuck in the brain, that's what brain cancer looks like. It kind of gets into the brain and then it grows. So our goal is to take out the tumor without really hurting the brain in any ways. And the way we do it is we start by finding an area of the brain that we think is going to be quiet and not eloquent. And then we make a small incision to get into the brain, like this. And then these are not the best instrument that I use, but kind of go in there like this and spread the brain gently away from the tumor, and then we slowly go around and make more room around the brain fibers, and we gently pull the tumor.
Live TV for you.
I know, right? It's like live brain surgery. And these are grapes that are right now stuck in there. And we gently pull the tumor out. And here it is, the brain tumor out of the brain.
Oh my
And the
gosh.
families can come and do these. We'll have these little brains. We want to teach everybody basic brain surgery so you can all aspire to be brain surgeons in the future.
And that'll be happening on Sunday, also happening all weekend. We've got Hattie McClade, of course, of the Wonders of Physics show. Hattie, good morning to you.
Thanks. Good morning, Josh. Happy to be here.
Yes, happy to be here as well. So we've got this big display here. What are we talking about?
Yeah, so one of the cool things about science expeditions, as you saw with the brain, is it's hands-on. And you can come into the Ingersoll Wonders of Physics Museum where you can touch everything. And I brought today our large-scale resonant frequency demonstration. We have a smaller one in the museum that you can try out, but I thought this was timely. And you notice as I shake the surface, certain buildings start to move. Each building has its own resonant frequency that it vibrates at. And if the Earth is shaking at that resonant frequency, then you see what happens to that building.
Wow.
So people can come and try their hand at doing the different resonant frequencies and getting each building to shake.
This is science right here.
It is, right in
I
front of
love
you.
it. All right, so UW Science Expeditions happening all weekend. Plenty of events going on too.
Yes, a lot of events all around campus. It's basically a science open house. We encourage everyone to come explore their public university.
Awesome. Thank you, Hattie. Thank you, Dr. Mahua Day and Assistant Jack over there. If you'd like to learn more about UW-Madison Science Expeditions, just go to the story up on channel3000.com. I have a link with the entire schedule so you can see what works for your family, guys. Pretty cool stuff. Science cool.
Very cool. Josh, thank you so much. We'll check back in a little bit.
Let's kick it on over to Jacob Montesano. He's got your certified most accurate forecast. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Chris, looking at the 3 things you need to know, we aren't seeing any alert days going forward, but we are going to remain breezy today. However, it is going to be dry. Next chance of rain will be Friday evening and Friday night, and then we'll be dry for much of the weekend. Now, we are dry right now, but taking a look at the amount of rain we've seen over the last 48 hours, this is just radar estimated. It is possible some areas got a little bit more or a little bit less, but on average, we saw about an inch of rain, especially for Dane County and areas to the south, areas a little bit to the northwest in Sequoia quite as much, but we still saw plenty of rain across the region. And as we take a look at the amount of rain we've seen since March 1st, we are now over 2 inches above what we normally see, at least for Madison. But because January and February were so dry, we actually are still a little bit below normal for the entire year. Now, at least the rain we've seen lately has improved the drought monitor, but we still are under a drought. Now, it is important to point out that the rain yesterday is not in this week's monitor. It did release today, but it takes the data through every Tuesday, which obviously was before the rain started from this past system. So next week's monitor may look even better. Now, looking at our next chance of rainfall, we're going to see cloudy skies today, cloudy skies for much of tomorrow, but we're not going to see any precipitation until we get to Friday evening, where we do see some light showers move through. Now, it's very possible the rain stays south of us entirely, but even if it does get into southern Wisconsin, we're not going to see much. Now, obviously, we are going to see that light rain during the evening Friday if it does, but it's not going to last very long. Should clear out by Saturday morning, and we may not even see any thunderstorms with it. Now, taking a look at the next precipitation chance, will be dry for much of the weekend, but as we get into Sunday night, we actually are going to see some snow move through. Now, we're certainly not going to see accumulation, at least we're not expecting it right now, but morning snow showers right now are in the forecast for Monday, maybe a little bit of a wintry mix. Not going to last very long. It should clear out by Monday afternoon and certainly by Monday evening, but there is going to be another round of snow, and I know many people probably, were hoping that was in the past, but it may last just at least one more time. Can't say for certain it won't happen at the end of April either. So looking specifically at the precipitation chances, again, just a smaller chance of rain Friday night, and then again on Monday, we also could see some rain next Wednesday night. But each of those precipitation chances, again, not going to amount to much. There's nothing even close to an alert day in the forecast. And as far as temperatures, 50s for the rest of this week, 30s on Monday, and then we'll warm up to the 60s for the end of next week.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Up next, we are talking to the organizers for Bucky's Race for Rehab. And coming up in our next half hour, politicians are reacting to the president's tariffs. Welcome back. Bucky's Race for Rehab is this Saturday in Madison. It's raising money all for a good cause. The Doctor of Physical Therapy program at the UW School of Medicine and Public Health is hosting the race. And joining us now are student organizers Delaney Wimmer and Zach Carden. Good morning, you two.
Morning.
Morning. Thanks for being here. So first, can you tell us about Bucky's Race for Rehab and what got it started?
Yeah, so Bucky's is a 3K, 5K walk, run, or wheel race. It's organized by the Doctor of Physical Therapy Student Organization, which is a mouthful, so we just say DIPSO.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, it's just a fundraiser that supports our program and many of the different things we do to support our students and the Madison community. So.
Yeah, so this supports a free clinic for underserved populations. So how does the clinic work?
Yeah, so the Dwayne Neuro-Rehabilitative Pro Bono Clinic is a student-run clinic that is supervised by faculty, and it offers services including physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech-language pathology at no cost to patients. And this semester, we are currently serving the biggest number of patients we have had in that clinic, so it's really awesome.
Wow. So how can people support the clinic and the race, obviously? So I know the race registration is full now, but how can people support the clinic and race going forward?
Yeah, so when we reached out or had this idea of doing this, we fully expected people to be able to sign up and run in our race, whether due to luck or the work of our volunteers. Our race is full, but we would love for people to show up on race day, cheer on the runners. Also, if they want to go to our website, which is just Google Bucky's Race for Rehab, you can donate directly to us, and all of these funds go back to the program and specifically to the Dwayne Pro Bono Clinic. So.
Right. And then we want to know, how can people participate next year? How can we get an early start on things here?
Yeah, Bucky's Race is an annual thing that happens, so we're hoping next year will even be bigger and better than it is this year. So if you're interested in racing, sign up next year. We'll be coming out spring of 2026. And people can continue to support not only the race itself, but the Pro Bono Clinic, as well as the program through some of our other fundraisers that we do throughout the year.
And I will just ask you both a personal question, just what has it been like, being a part of this program? You both are first-year students, so what has it been like being able to be a part of this race and then just also in this program?
It's been a really amazing experience. We've had a lot of support from all the faculty in the program, and we've gotten to learn a lot in our first year. I think the thing that I like the most about this program is the opportunities that we get to work hands-on with patients, not only through the pro bono clinic, but through some other experiences as well. So they're really setting us up well when we're done with school.
All right. Well, Zach and Delaney, we want to thank you both for joining us this morning. And we will share all of these details on our website, channel3000.com. Stay right here. We're back right after this.
Breaking news, we have an important update on a missing 16-year-old from Beaver Dam. What authorities are saying about her this morning.
I just consider myself very lucky to have found something that worked out for my family.
Plus, Madison's housing prices, how it caused a local official to step down from her position.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on News 3 Now this morning. We want to get right away to our breaking news, an end to that 2-month-long Amber Alert for a missing Beaver Dam 16-year-old. This morning, authorities say she is safe and her 40-year-old abductor is in custody.
The Amber Alert has been canceled. Officials had been looking for Sophia Franklin and Gary Day since February 2nd. Day is the father of her unborn child. Day faces charges in Wisconsin for child abduction and enticement. He also has a criminal record in Arkansas.
We'll send more information on the Channel 3000 mobile app as soon as we get an update from the authorities today. You can get that app wherever you download yours. All right, let's get to meteorologist Jacob Montesano with your first warn forecast. Pretty gusty out there this morning, Jacob.
Yeah, sustained winds right now up near 25 miles per hour for a few locations, near 30 miles per hour for Monroe, 13 right now in Madison. But again, these are just the sustained winds. Taking a look at the wind gusts, those are up near 40 miles per hour for a few locations. We're going to continue to see some windy conditions throughout the day, but the good news is that we aren't going to be seeing any rainfall. Now, looking at the wind gust forecast, the strongest winds will occur during the morning. By the afternoon, only up to around 20 to 25 miles per hour. And then by sunset, winds no longer really a factor. Now, as we take a look at the temperatures, those winds have kept things mild. So right now we're in the lower 40s, upper 30s. The average low is around 30, so we're about 10 degrees above that. And as I mentioned, we are dry right now. We're going to remain dry for much of the day, but we are going to remain rather cloudy. A few peaks of sunshine here and there, but highs will be near 50. Again, winds getting better throughout the day with, again, some peaks of sunshine, and that's the case throughout the entire area. Upper 40s, lower 50s. That's going to be a similar forecast tomorrow, but we do have a small chance of rain later in the day. I'll talk later in the day tomorrow, I should point out. I'll talk more detail about that coming up a little bit later.
All right. Thank you, Jacob. Now to the state of the world economy. Starting today, 25% tariffs on foreign cars and auto parts go into effect. It's part of President Donald Trump's trade war. In the latest round are reciprocal tariffs against nearly all trading partners.
It includes a flat 10% tax on all imports to the U.S. That starts on Saturday. There will be a 34% tax on imports from China and 20% on the European Union. Our consumer reporter, Michelle Renee Quinn, is here with how you could start to feel the effects of these tariffs. Michelle Renee, good morning.
Good morning. Higher prices is the #1 prediction from economists. They say U.S. businesses will likely pass on some or all of the cost to consumers.
It's thousands of dollars. We're talking at least 2% of the median household income that this will cost American households.
The stock market has been unpredictable since Trump began announcing tariffs. This morning, the U.S. futures tumbled with markets in Europe and Asia doing the same. Americans can likely expect blows to retirement funds if the stock market doesn't fully rebound, and high interest rates if the Federal Reserve sees too much inflation. You can expect to see an economic slowdown and the increase in prices within the next 2 months.
Michelle Renee, thank you. And we do have an update on those stocks this morning.
We're keeping a live look at the White House this morning, where we are feeling the effects of the Trump administration's tariffs. Stock futures this morning are tumbling. The Dow is down 1,200 points. The S&P futures and NASDAQ futures are down more than 3% as well. Listen to some of the headlines from some of the major financial outlets this morning. CNBC, Trump's tariffs incite fury in China and dismay in Europe. Meantime, the Associated Press headline reads, Trump's tariffs send shivers across world markets as economists warn of recession risks. We are about 2 hours away from the opening bell on Wall Street in New York. We're going to keep an eye on that throughout the morning.
Wisconsin politicians are also reacting to the president's tariff plans. Senator Tammy Baldwin says it will raise prices for the state's agriculture, manufacturers, and families. Baldwin says in part, quote, "I agree that we need to address trade cheats like China, bring back Made in America manufacturing, and level the playing field for workers, but Donald Trump's reckless plan is not going to do that." Meanwhile, on the other side, Senator Ron Johnson is also skeptical of tariffs. Like Baldwin, he points to their potential effects on manufacturers and agriculture.
The president has admitted tariffs will create pain for some businesses, and I think Wisconsin will be particularly hard hit with all the manufacturing and agricultural interests. He's used tariffs in the past effectively to get nations to do what they should have done anyway. Right now, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm concerned.
Governor Tony Evers has also criticized tariffs, saying the president is turning his back on America's dairyland.
Well, in state news this morning, the Supreme Court here in Wisconsin is set to rule on a case between the state's attorney general and the legislature. It's a case about the separation of powers. But if Wisconsin wins money in a lawsuit, who gets to control that money? Would it go to the DOJ that filed the lawsuit or the legislature that sets the state budget? Lawyers with the DOJ argue the fund should stay with the attorney general's office.
Of what other sources of income may, I would say, to the sort of scope and policy argument that the legislature is raising. The way that the Wisconsin Constitution accounts for that is that the executive branch is politically accountable to the people.
But the legislature, by the Constitution, is held responsible for making sure that there is a balanced budget and accounting for all of the sources of income.
The case harkens back to a series on lame duck laws from 2018. Republicans in the state passed bills to remove some powers for the incoming Democratic AG. The Supreme Court holds the liberal majority right now and could side with the attorney general.
In other news this morning, Elizabeth Doyle served her last day as Dane County District 1 supervisor on Monday. She says the main reason she moved out of the district is due to high rental prices in downtown Madison. Our Meryl Hubbard reports.
Between 2020 to 2050, the city of Madison projects Madison's population to increase by about 115,000. But with low vacancy rates and high rental prices, it can be hard to find affordable housing in Madison.
The first few years I lived downtown, there were very minimal rent increases.
Elizabeth Doyle has lived downtown since 2018, but she says for the last 3 years, her monthly rent has been going up by about $100 each year.
So it's gotten to the point where it's just not sustainable to continue renting downtown.
But moving out of downtown meant stepping down from her position as the Dane County Board Supervisor representing the downtown area.
And so it's just one of those hard decisions where I feel very sad to be leaving the position, but it was the best financial decision for my family to do this.
Latest numbers show rent in Madison is growing by 2.5% per year, more than double the national average.
We actually have the second lowest vacancy rate overall in the country. Only one with a tighter rental market is New York City.
James Langer is the Public Information Officer for the City of Madison's Department of Planning, Community, and Economic Development.
So you can imagine, the strain that our housing market has, especially when you look at downtown, where obviously there's limited space available.
Though the city is working on initiatives and construction for more affordable housing, it's an uphill battle.
We're so far behind on supply, it's going to be a long time before any of those even make a dent on the market.
Elizabeth's last day as a supervisor was March 31st, and she's moving into her first home on the west side.
I just consider myself very lucky to have found something that worked out for my family.
Reporting in Madison, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
So let's break down the numbers on all of this. The city is sharing March's city housing tracker. They say that they saw 118 new homes completed and become move-in ready. That makes the total homes completed for the year 468. That puts the department ahead of last year's pace. Well, they saw only 24 homes completed in March. The department says they anticipate pace to pick back up, though, as the weather improves.
TikTok's parent company ByteDance is facing a Saturday deadline to sell its shares or prepare to lose U.S. users once again. The New York Times reports Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos has put in a bid for the app. They say the bid came in the form of a letter to Vice President J.D. Vance and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Neither Amazon nor TikTok have commented on the offer.
Elon Musk could be leaving Washington soon. President Trump told reporters that at some point Musk will go back to running his companies. He adds that the Department of Government Efficiency will end as well. It comes as Musk deals with blowback for his involvement in the Trump administration. Tesla saw a 13% drop in sales in the first 3 months of the year. The White House has not disclosed a clear timeline, but Doge was initially supposed to operate until July 4th of 2026.
A federal judge has dismissed criminal corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams with prejudice. Last September, Adams had been indicted on 5 counts of bribery, conspiracy, and campaign finance violations. He pleaded not guilty. The DOJ wanted the case dropped, but wanted to reserve the right to bring the charges back. However, the judge agreed to drop the case, but his ruling means Adams can't be retried on the same charges. The judge's ruling comes just a day after Mayor Adams joined a multi-state lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's cuts to the health department. He's up for re-election this November.
Well, in just a month, it could be harder to get through the airport. May 7th is the deadline to have a real ID. Millions of Americans still don't have one. Congress mandated the switch to real ID after 9/11. The new IDs are more secure and harder to counterfeit. You can get one at the DMV. You need a valid ID, passport, or birth certificate. You also need proof of your social security number, date of birth, and 2 items proving state residency.
Well, with spring here, that means some favorite Madison staples are coming back. Memorial Union's Terrace chairs return on April 16th. There will be a party to celebrate on April 18th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The Wisconsin Union's festival season also kicks off soon. It will host free concerts in late May and free movie screenings in June. Lineups will be announced next month.
You know what else is coming back? The Farmers Market, April 12th. Mark your calendars. It'll run every Saturday, of course, on the square from 6:15 in the morning till 1:45 in the afternoon. Also returning, it's Sister Wednesday Market on the 200 block of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. That'll run from 8:30 until 1:45, beginning on April 23rd.
All right, springtime's here, but it's not quite feeling like it yet, but we need that.
Yeah.
I mean, the chairs are coming out. You got to be able to enjoy it.
All right, we still have a chance of snow in the forecast to talk about.
Let's not even talk about it. Jacob, what's coming up?
Well, we are going to see spring-like temperatures towards the end of the 10-day forecast, but we still have a little bit of up and down until then. I'll have the details coming up.
And we're live with a preview of UW-Madison science expeditions and all the fun things you and your family can explore using science. That's in the 608.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. Breezy but dry today, but we are going to see another chance of rain come Friday evening. But after that rain clears out, we're going to be very dry for much of the weekend. Now, first, here's a look at the wind gust forecast. It's especially going to be breezy in the morning, and throughout the afternoon, it will get better. By the time we get to sunset, the wind's almost not even a factor. As far as your cloud cover goes, we'll see mostly cloudy skies today and much of tomorrow, but the rain won't move in until later in the day tomorrow. Friday evening is when we'll see some showers across the region. It is possible that this rain completely stays south, but even if it does get into southern Wisconsin, it will be on the lighter side, and it also won't last very long. Should clear out by the time we get to Saturday morning, and then, as I mentioned, will be dry for much of the weekend. So temperature-wise today, highs in the upper 40s, could see some lower 50s, mostly cloudy skies with a few peaks of sunshine here and there. Similar for tomorrow, highs a little bit milder, middle to lower 50s are in the forecast, with the rain expected a little bit later in the evening. And looking at the temperatures going forward, the weekend, not really much going to change, but for Monday, we'll drop into the 30s, then warm up after that to the 60s by the time we get to the end of next week and next weekend. But with those 30s on Monday does come a very small chance of some snow. Now, we're not expecting any snowfall accumulation, but the simple fact that it's cold enough to see some snowfall, certainly a big story. Now, again, it's not going to last very long, and if it does accumulate, it will melt very quickly with the ground being warm and the sunshine we're expecting for a lot of next week. So that is the good news, but yes, we do have another chance of some snow. May not be the last one, but at least it's the last one for now. Again, the end of April may have a surprise or two for us. And then we are going to see, like I mentioned, clear skies for a good chunk of the rest of next week with 60s returning. So very nice weather is expected for the first farmers market next weekend and even the rest of this week. You know, 50s in Wisconsin, certainly not too bad at all. Again, it will be rather cloudy today and tomorrow. A little bit more sunshine, especially by the time we get to Sunday, before we drop quite a bit, but briefly, and then warm back up.
All right, Jacob, thanks for breaking it down. Time to see what's going on in the 608. Oh, this morning, the UW Science Museum expeditions are back.
That's right. Our Josh Prider is live on campus this morning with the preview. Josh, how's it going?
Hey, good morning, guys. We're in Chamberlain Hall giving you a few examples of what folks can check out with how science is cool. This is a great opportunity for the family to come out and explore science. We got a couple of different demonstrations for you this morning. We're going to start with Jim Mader. Jim, good morning to you.
Hi, Josh. Good morning.
Yeah, so you've got a couple of experiments for us this morning. What are we talking about?
So this is one experiment. It's a portable experiment, something like the things I'm going to do on Saturday in room S413 in the chemistry building at noon. So this one is an aqueous experiment, mostly water, a little bit of Drano, and an indicator that changes color when things happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake each one of these up, and they have sugar in them. I'm going to shake it up.
Oh, look at that.
And we get a color change because the oxygen goes into the water and causes some chemistry to happen. After a while, the oxygen leaves the water, and then the color changes back. Let's try this one. This one takes a little longer, doesn't it?
And it's a different color.
And it's a different color. So this is an indicator called Resagerin, and this is an indicator called methylene blue. And they track this certain type of chemistry.
Wow, that's so cool. All right, what do we got right here?
Okay, so these are two 2-liter bottles like you'd have pop in, and they have a clear and colorless liquid in the bottom. So this is actually a form of hydrogen peroxide, which you'd have in your house, except much more concentrated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these packets that has a solid in it. It's called manganese dioxide. I'm going to drop it in here, and then we're going to see something happen, okay? Are you ready?
Whoa.
Woo. So, you can see this gets pretty hot. Even the bottle, as it warms, contracts. This is what plastics do when you heat them up. So this is called chemical genie in a bottle. And the solid is a catalyst, which means it can be used again. So I'm actually going to take this out, and I'm going to use my gloved hand to put it in this one. And we're going to try and see if it works again. I love experiments, you know.
There we go. Look at that.
Catalysts do not get used up in chemistry, so we can do it over and over again.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. We also have Hattie McLean with us this morning. Hattie, good morning to you.
Good morning, Josh.
So what are we doing right here?
Well, we have our vortex cannon, and after you see Jim's show at noon, you can come over to the physics building, Chamberlain Hall, and see the Wonders of Physics show. We're doing two shows actually, one at 11 and then one at 1. So opposite times of Jim's show. But the Wonders of Physics is where we like to bring out all the big demonstrations and show you just all the cool things that you can do with physics. So this is our vortex cannon, one of the favorites, and spoiler alert, this one will be in the show. But this is a demonstration that shows you how air pressure moves, right? So we pull the diaphragm back and we can shoot air out. Do you feel that?
I can feel it. Yeah, can you?
Yeah.
There goes my hair.
So there's a circle, there's a hole in the end of this bottle, but what's really cool about this is that it shoots a vortex, which is really a donut shape or a ring because of the pressure difference between the air that touches the edge and the air that comes through the middle. So we can shoot smoke rings all over the room. And
that's so cool.
These go for a long ways because of the pressure difference.
Oh my gosh, so many things to check out this weekend.
Yes, a campus-wide open house. There's events on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Wonders of Physics shows are on Saturday. No tickets needed, which is different from our February shows where you need to have a ticket. It's just first come, first serve. Again, 11 and 1, and in between the shows, you can see Jim's show at noon.
I love it. All right, I think you need to shoot a couple more at Mark as we send it back to Chris and Kyra in the studio, guys. Look at that. Back to you guys.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that's science for you.
Love to see it. Tell Hattie hi, of course. We miss her.
Look at them having some fun this morning. Well, coming up in the morning sprint, the effect of food poisoning on your brain.
If you have a little kiddo turning 3 soon, send us a picture. We'll show it on TV. We're back with the sprint. 6:54, time for the morning sprint.
Breaking news this morning, a missing 16-year-old Beaver Dam girl has been found and her suspected abductor has been taken into custody. The Amber Alert for her has been canceled. Officials have been looking for Sophia Martha Franklin since early February. She had been with 40-year-old Gary Day. Day faces charges in Wisconsin for child abduction and enticement. He also has a criminal record in Arkansas. Day is the father of her unborn child.
Today, 25% tariffs on foreign cars and auto parts take effect. It comes as President Trump is expanding his trade war, unveiling reciprocal tariffs against nearly all trading partners. It includes a flat 10% tax on all imports to the U.S. That starts on April 5th. Coming up here in 2 days, markets across the globe are way down this morning. And here at home, overnight trading shows the Dow already down more than 1,100 points.
The general manager for Madison Metro Transit is resigning. Justin Stuhrenberg joined Madison Metro in March 2020. The resignation comes after an increase in reports of altercations between Metro drivers and riders. Madison Park Superintendent Eric Knapp will serve as acting general manager. Stuhrenberg's last day is May 30th.
We know more about one of those alleged attacks. Officers responded to a report of an altercation with a driver on East Washington and 4th Street Sunday night around 8 o'clock. They found a man matching the suspect's description. Police have referred charges to the DA's office. It marks the 3rd reported attack this year on Metro drivers.
If you've ever had food poisoning, you may remember that afterwards it's hard to look at the food that got you sick. Well, scientists have found that getting food poisoning creates a link in the memory part of your brain. It forms a permanent connection that basically ruins that food for you forever. Scientists say it's a similar effect to PTSD.
And here's a final look at your 10-day forecast. We'll see highs in the 50s for the rest of this week. A few small chances of precipitation, especially Friday evening and early Friday night. And then we have another chance of some precipitation, this time in the form of snow on Monday as temperatures cool down. But then we are going to see those temperatures rebound for next weekend. And obviously next weekend, the first farmers market. Right now, it looks really good. Hopefully, nothing changes from now until then.
Yes, that would be a great start to the first one. Just have some good
Might actually
weather.
see some consistency for this time of the year.
How about that?
That's what I like to
Nice.
hear, Jake. That's what I like to hear. Thank you.
We have a news and weather update in 30 minutes.